like an athlete, but got no jumper. Ballin' like an athlete, but got no jumper.
No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today I have a YouTube sensation, moderate YouTube star, fashion guru, etc., Jacob Starr on the podcast. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. How are you doing today?
How would you prefer that I describe you when I say what you do or who you are? What do you say? Like a girl walks up to you in the bar. What do you do?
I think I often describe my channel as kind of like an unbox therapy, except for clothes. I feel like that's like the most accurate, just because that's kind of what I'm known for, is just showing off tons of clothes.
And people actually like seeing that unboxing, huh? There's a big thing about that for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's just there's a lot of people who can't afford those clothes, and there's a lot of people that want them but can't afford them. So then, yeah, they like to see them unboxed or see my opinions on them or whatever.
Right. So have you always been into clothes?
Yeah, for like about the last 11 years.
How old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw a funny comment the other day, actually, that someone was like, you look like you're 17 and 49 at the same time. But
Ain't we all? Yeah.
But yeah, so I was into clothes for like the last 11 years. When I was in high school, I was just really, really poor, so I wasn't into clothes when I was in high school. I just wore the same 2 hoodies all throughout high school.
What kind of hoodies?
BMX hoodies, actually. UGP red hoodie and an FBM destroy your car, ride a bike hoodie.
Wow. So you were a BMX kid?
Yeah, I mean, I was just doing like dirt jumps. I wasn't doing like what you guys do by any means, but I've always been fascinated with it. My brother was really big into BMX, so I just kind of followed his.
Right.
You know,
The Northwest has a crazy BMX scene.
It's decent. I feel like. Yeah, it's pretty
they're
decent.
dedicated. It's very it's associated with a certain style of BMX. There's a certain like ethos out there. I don't know if you know about that, but there's a lot of, guys who are real shroupers out there. They love the tranny, they love the bowls, they love going big and shit. It's cool.
Yeah, I feel like out there it's more like, at least from what I've seen, just big jumps. I definitely see a lot of like bowls.
It's very hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much respect to Shad from Goods.
Hey.
Yeah. But wait, so where are you from exactly?
Tacoma, Washington.
Okay. And so coming up there, what was your childhood like?
Well, I grew up on in Southside Tacoma, like Oakland Park area, which is, at least where I grew up, it was pretty poor. But I was really only growing up in that environment for the first 12, 13 years of my life. And my brother was really big into drugs. And then basically there was a situation happened where this meth lab blew up next to my house.
Wow.
And my mom was just like,
and your house, was your house affected? Or was it just scary?
It was basically a situation where the house was on fire and they weren't even home. And so it just kind of was a wake-up call for my mom to get me out of that area.
So you lived next door to a meth house or a meth lab, and you didn't even know?
No. Well, originally I grew up in an apartment complex. My mom married my stepdad. We had better money, so we moved into a house on Warner Street, and then that's when the meth lab blew up next to my house. And then my mom moved me to Olympia, which is a nicer area.
Okay.
It's not nice. It's just an average area. It's
less meth labs?
Yeah, definitely less meth labs.
Holy shit. And wait, so you say your brother was into drugs and stuff?
Yeah, still is, actually. So,
really?
Yeah.
So what, he's in a real bad state still?
Yeah. Not to speak ill on my brother or anything, but I've always been pretty open. My brother's just had a big issue with heroin, basically, the majority of his life. I don't really talk to him because I don't do drugs recreationally. If I need to feel better or something like that, but I don't really drink anymore. I don't do any drugs. I just kind of focus on creating videos.
Is the heroin problem pretty gnarly up there?
It used to be really bad, and then it kind of wasn't much of an issue. I feel like in Washington it was mostly crank, which is meth. That was a big issue for a while in Tacoma, at least. But we've seen a lot of heroin lately. It seems like it's a big issue. So.
So okay. So what happens? You're in high school. What kind of kid are you in high school?
In high school, I was kind of a loner. So when my mom moved me to Olympia, I didn't really associate with anyone. I would hang out with my friend Josh a lot, but that was just whenever I'd go back to Tacoma. And but in Olympia, I just didn't really fuck with anyone. Everyone there, I think when I was really poor and then I moved to Olympia, I just kind of figured oh, these kids have money, they don't know what it's like. In reality, I was just being a judgmental fucking prick.
Right.
But I was just oh, they don't know what it's like to not have money or not to struggle or whatever, blah, blah. And then I don't know. And I just kind of like kept that with me and would use that to like not really fuck with anyone.
Right.
So when I kind of like it though, because I got really into things that I never would have. Like I got really into like gaming. I started playing like World of Warcraft. I just became like a loner basically.
Really?
And so the only time I would really like leave is to go to Tacoma on the weekends to hang out with all my friends that I grew up with.
So what age was this that you were a World of Warcraft guy?
Like 15 and then 16, 17.
I'm so thankful because when I was 13, I played the game Diablo online.
Diablo was so
Oh
fun.
my God, dude. I played it online for about like 30 minutes and it was like the internet connection wasn't good enough for it to like consistently be played on there. But I already knew like if I play this, I'm going to get so addicted to this that I'm not going to have like a childhood. So I was lucky enough and the internet wasn't good. So I had that as a reason as well. And I didn't do it. But like when I see people talking about World of Warcraft, I'm like, oh my God, that could be me, man.
I didn't even have a computer when I was growing up until I bought my own computer. And so like I remember I used to go to my friend's house. I'd play Diablo at his house and like he'd go to sleep and I would stay up for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours just playing Diablo. Like I was just like Diablo was such a fun game.
So addictive.
Yeah.
Once you start feeling like you're actually like accomplishing something by sitting there playing for 10 hours, then it's just over. It's like terrible.
Yeah.
So were you a complete and total, like you didn't have really any friends at this time when you were doing this?
No, I did. I mean, like I was still social. It's just that I just didn't really, and like all my friends were in Tacoma, so I really only saw them on the weekends.
Right.
Like I used to go to Club Friday still on the weekends. Club Friday was like a teen club off 9th and Pacific. And that place was real grimy. That was like, it was people would say like Brick City. It was just all like bricks, industrial pipes. People be dancing, like you'd be dancing with a girl and then like condensation from the pipes would be like dripping on you. Like the club was literally sweating on you. It was disgusting.
Call that ambiance here in LA.
Ambiance.
That's great. That's awesome. that adds to the feel of the room.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait. So you're in high school, you graduate, then what happens?
So I graduated. So basically, when I graduated, I wasn't living with my mom because I got kicked out. So I ended up moving to Hawaii with my mom's good friend. And I lived in Hawaii for a little less than a year. And I didn't have a job. I worked I worked for her husband on the side doing like general contracting like once almost every week, sometimes every other week. And that was how I made money to like buy food or whatever. But other than that, I didn't do anything besides just ride my bike around. Right.
So then, okay, so at what point you just keep doing that for a while after high school? Like you didn't consider going to college or anything like?
No. I never really thought of college as an option. I don't know. I did very bad in high school. I graduated with 1.7 GPA.
Nice.
I never went to school really. Like
I don't even know my GPA, but I bet I was around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never thought of like college as even an option. I didn't have any money, and so I did that. I moved back to Washington because I got kicked out of there as well, and that was kind of just an ongoing thing. I was just real lazy back then.
Well, your parents kicked you out?
My parents kicked me out when I was 16. And then I moved around with some friends. I moved back, got kicked out again, moved back. It's just kind of like a back and forth thing for a while.
Okay. So along the way, you're just like kind of into clothes casually. Were you also?
No, I wasn't even into clothes at all until I got back. Until I got back from Hawaii was when I started getting into clothes. A little bit when I was in Hawaii, but it was more like I was just wearing like more like surfer style. I said, I would just ride my bike around like
Billabong?
the beach. Billabong, yeah, Billabong.
That's just
I had a
hard.
sick Quicksilver shirt. Ooh, it was so dope. It matched my Billabong shorts.
What
too.
about like a nice Santa Cruz shirt?
I did not have a Santa Cruz shirt.
That shit's hard too. I like
Yeah.
anything you can get at like a PacSun.
yeah,
Yeah.
high end.
That's
know?
me.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
me. I've watched videos of you like standing around waiting outside of PacSun, right?
There was a video for the Fear of God release. That was
yes,
hectic.
I remember that one. And the cops or the mall security was not fucking with you.
No, they kept trying to they were trying to let these guys in front of me, and like in the video, I'm like, I don't care.
They were trying to let guys in front of you. Why?
There was like a confusion, but where the line started, and like we were there first. We were like this line that I was in.
Right.
And then they
How
got
many people
there.
were there for this?
I mean, Tacoma's not really big into fashion, but there was still probably like towards the opening, probably like 50, 60 people. Most people, though, like most malls, there were like stories for the Fear of God release. Just lines, just
Right.
crazy.
That's
lines.
crazy. What is it about Fear of God that's so dope? I don't really get that one because since I first heard about it, I was like, oh, the dude's like Christian and stuff. Like I ain't trying to wear no Jesus shit. So no offense to him or anything. I'm not really trying to buy most of that shit anyway.
I think most is just what's trending, what's popular. I mean, and Fear of God is kind of like the name brand for that style because there's so much different like knockoff brands that copy that brand that like are comparable.
You're really paying attention. I ain't watching shit.
Huh?
You're really paying attention.
Oh, to like the brands?
You know about like who's like influencing shit in that kind of space, huh? I don't really
Yeah,
even
definitely.
know shit.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, you
dope.
kind of have to. I mean, I guess like with what I do, it's I pay attention to it more than I normally would for sure. I'm more into the streetwear side of things than the Fear of God personally.
So were you always into like YouTube and stuff? Did you always know you wanted to be a vlogger, or how did this come to be?
No, I didn't even know YouTube was really. I only used YouTube for like music videos.
Okay.
I was in the military actually, and
Oh, okay. At what age?
I joined the military when I moved back to Washington after Hawaii. So like right before I turned 20, I think.
Okay. And how long were you doing that?
6 years, 7 months.
So you were overseas for how much of this?
I went to Afghanistan for like 7 months. I went to UAE for like 4 months.
Wow. Okay. And so what were you doing out there? What was your title?
I was a maintenance management analysis.
Okay. So what does that mean? What were you doing?
Basically, I just track airframe metrics.
Okay.
And I basically just like I'll have like an Excel sheet and I'll keep track of what happens to the jets or the reconnaissance planes or.
Wow. That's crazy. And you didn't go to college. You just fucking learned how to do this?
No, they'll send you to like a tech school,
Right.
you know, and they'll teach you. They take you to like some basic like stats courses and stuff like that, and they teach you everything. Right after basic training, they'll send you to that.
So then they own you for a few years after that?
Yes, they owned me for 6 years. I signed a 6-year contract, and then I extended it by 7 months so I could go to California.
Nice.
Um,
And was that like a pretty good living? Were you happy doing that?
yeah, I mean, I felt blessed to be honest because, I mean, like my situation, my whole family's just in prison, dead or addicted to drugs.
Right.
So it's like I'm the only one from my family. Like I help my mom out with her bills. Like I'm able to like help my family when they need bread or when they need whatever, you know.
So from day one, it was like super valuable for you to do the military thing just because you wanted to be able to take care of your family and stuff?
Yeah. And it put a roof over my head. Like it was a blessing, really. I mean, I have the military to thank for so much. And I know a lot of people have like differing opinions on like, you know, what the military does in general. But overall, the military took care of me and just took me out of a really bad situation. So
did you like have to do or see anything that was disturbing, or were you kind of removed from that side of things?
I was pretty removed from that. When I was in Bagram, we'd get attacked. Like the base would get mortared. The closest thing that happened was like we were in these dorms and there was like another set of dorms and then like a big tent. That tent got hit with a mortar.
Wow.
But that was like the close, and I didn't even see. I was sleeping when it happened. Didn't wake me up.
It didn't wake you up?
No, I mean these are concrete dorms,
Right.
you know. But yeah, I mean we would get like one time across the flight line we saw like a fire, and like the base would get attacked regularly. But I have an office job, so it's like for the most part I'm removed from that. I would help carry soldiers sometimes. Like you can volunteer to do stuff on base.
Did you not even like when people say like, oh, the U.S. military does this or that? Is that even the kind of thing that you concerned yourself with, or was your attitude more like, I got a job to do, I'm just going to go over here and do it?
I think for me when I joined the military, I remember like my mom was like, my mom would always be like, oh, you don't listen, like you're not gonna be able to stay in the military, and I was just like, I really don't care what they tell me to do. They can sit there and yell at me all they want as long as they pay me, like. And then I got in and I was like, I fucking hate being told what to do all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just not that kind of person?
Yeah, I've never really been that type of person to like, I just don't like having a boss for the most part, which sounds really bad. But I like working for myself, you know?
I've never even thought about joining the military, but now I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and I'm thinking about how I would deal with it. And I'm like, oh God, no. It's like, I can't imagine anything like less suited to my personality, you know?
Yeah. It was weird. Like it took a lot of adjusting, and there was a lot of times where like I would argue with sergeants and I just didn't agree with certain things or how they handled business.
And that's not the place for someone who wants to like try to improve upon protocol, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
They're not having it.
No, it's exactly how it is. It stays like that, and you just don't question it. You just do what you're told.
Did it occur to you as it was particularly brutal? Did you get in crazy good shape? Would they make you doing all kinds of wild endurance stuff in your training?
I'm in a lot better shape than I was, for sure.
Right.
When I went to Afghanistan, that was when like I started working out more, and I mean, in the military is like the whole reason I was even able to start my YouTube channel, because that's how I got the money to buy these clothes in the first place.
Right.
And then it became a thing where it started making money. So, I mean, overall, like the military is just like kind of developed who I am today. You know?
Right. So that is
every aspect of life.
That's kind of the overall finesse. You go over there, you bomb some Muslim countries, you buy some Supreme.
I don't bomb them. Okay, I just keep track of the bombs they drop.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they dropped 3 bombs.
You're an accessory to the bombing of Muslim countries, and then you parlay that into a large
like
Supreme collection. It's like, well, that's the overall narrative that I've managed to notice here. I'm only playing devil's advocate, but let's call it what it is. Okay, so were you excited to get out of the military though by the end of it? And
yeah.
did you start the YouTube channel while you were still in there?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I have videos of me like in my dorm room, or I have a video where like I went to Dubai and I did kind of like a music vlog of like my trip to Dubai because while I was in UAE, that's like we went there for a couple times.
So you already had this as like an interest doing like video content on YouTube?
Yeah, so the way it kind of started was I have a friend who is really good at rapping, actually. His name's Uffy Lane Snyder. He's in prison right now. And
for what?
So the charge he got hit with was conspiring to sell 160,000 oxys.
Whew.
Him and like a group of people.
160,000 oxy sounds like a great weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was really like doing it, and it was cool. Like he's kind of the person that really got me onto like underground rap. Like he was a weird dude. Like he'd be super high off heroin. Like he was really like, he would use his own shit and sell, you know? But he would just be like super high. He'd come over to my house. He'd write some lyrics down. He'd show me like some artist that I've never heard of. He's the one that showed me Bones. Like,
God, Bones is the tie that binds on here because I was just doing the Cuff Boys interview too, and the Bones video was the Mom Reacts to Bones was the first video he ever did. On a personal level, Bones was like the first like rapper in LA that I ever like had any kind of communication with, him and Xavier. So it's kind of crazy to hear you say that too, because I'm always saying he's like ridiculously influential and people don't credit
he is.
him.
He's kind of like, I've said on Twitter, even after he low key like, I feel like hated on me.
We could talk about that too, I guess. Yeah, I saw that.
I said, did you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said on Twitter that like he's kind of like the father of like a lot of these rappers. I mean, he's like, you know, and it's interesting now, but I mean, I don't know. I've always loved his music. I've used his music in my videos countless times. Like my first outfit of the day was Platinum Lexus, using that song as like a little like lookbook video thing, and
lots of great video content has been edited to Team Sesh instrumentals over the years.
Yeah.
That's tight. Okay, so he turned you on to like Bones and stuff, and that was your entry point. Were you into like Ludacris and like stuff before that, or were you a rap fan before you got into
I was
the
a rap
underground
fan,
shit?
but not so much like not like such a like a, I would consider like Ludacris like new age. I was more into like Bone Thugs, Master P.
You're kind of like stuck on the stuff you were interested in when you were in high school type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Never went past that. I was like, all this new stuff is like not cool. But I was into some underground rap too, like Sapient. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Super dope. But he's more like, I'm trying to think of like
conscious
a comparison.
guy?
Yeah, like conscious rap. Sand People. He's like one of the artists of Sand People, which is like a collective.
I like that murder music.
Yeah. They're not like, they're more like, you know, rapping about homeless problems in America or like materialism but stuff like that. So like Macklemore before he made Thrift Shop.
Is Macklemore a big influence on you as a human being?
No,
coming
not
from
really.
the Northwest?
Surprisingly, no. I did like The Town, which is a song about that, but no, I mean I didn't really listen to Macklemore as much when I was a kid. Like I said, I usually listen to mostly like just like West Coast stuff. So
did
like
you know about
Mac Dre,
Macklemore when
Silly
he was
Stuff.
an underground rapper before he was a megastar?
Did I know of him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was out there grinding for a long time.
He was pretty
before
popular
he blew
in
up,
the scene. I mean, I was more familiar with like artists like Sapient, Eli, Mac Lethal, which he's kind of getting popular on YouTube right now for this weird like 27 rap style thing. But his music is pretty dope. Greaves, tons of like underground artists like that would do like conscious rap.
That's dope.
And then Snyder was the one that was like, yo, like I just don't really like conscious rap. Like I like lyrical stuff, but I don't. It doesn't need to be about some conscious subject for it to be lyrical.
So that helped like open your mind to a lot of stuff that's going on in the underground.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. So you're doing videos and stuff, but more just you said like, music based vlogs, like just kind of scenic stuff or what?
Well, at the time I was still doing unboxings. I was trying to.
Oh, so you started out doing that early on?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The way it all came about to where I started like actually started my channel, or the first thing that started my channel was I did a Karmaloop model contest, not because I think I'm a model, but just because my pictures on Facebook would get a decent amount of likes. I could get like 400, 500, 600 likes on Facebook, right? And so I saw this little contest entry from this kid who at the time I didn't really fuck with. Later on, me and him became cool, but and I was like thinking in my head, I was like, I think I could get more votes than him. He has like 92 votes. It's been 2 days. Like I could post this one time and get more votes than that. So I post it and I end up passing him, right? And so I'm first for a while, but then these YouTubers catch wind of it, and there's these 2 YouTubers. One, I don't even remember his name, and then Jacob Keller. And Jacob Keller, me and him started talking, and he actually shows off a Animal Bikes tee in his video, and he's like, I don't really know this brand, but I like the graphic. And I let him know, I was like,
what year is this?
This is fucking like, I can cuss. I don't know why I'm like trying to correct myself.
Cuss it up.
6 years ago, I think. So
okay. That's funny.
2011.
Because that was around the era where there was a bunch of random people wearing animal wear for a little while. Like
because Karmaloop.
Lil Wayne was wearing it. Yeah, I think they were wearing Karmaloop. Everybody had those fitteds and shit. Yeah, Animal had a pop culture moment there for a minute. Yeah.
And so I just kind of left a comment, and I just let him know, like, yo, it's a BMX brand. Like, yo, like it's dope. You should check them out or whatever, you know. And so me and him started talking, and I was asking like what he does, and he basically just said, yeah, I just show off clothes from Karmaloop. And at the time I was buying hella clothes. I'd buy like tons of 10 Deep, 7th Letter.
Karmaloop was such an era.
It was.
That was how I learned about street. Well, I guess I like knew about it, but that was when I first started like buying it, because I used to always go in stores, and I'm like a easy like XL, maybe double XL. So I would like go to like boutique type shops in New York all the time and look at all these cool ass clothes. And I was like kind of getting money from online poker, and I would always want to buy cool shit, but I couldn't. And then finally I found out about Karmaloop, and I'm like, oh shit, they got the double XLs. I can buy that. I can buy Crooks and Castles.
And they got sales.
And they had that was when it got that
sales.
And really that's why Karmaloop fucked up the whole game, is because for a while it was like, oh, here's your 60% off after Christmas sale, and then all of a sudden I didn't want to buy anything with the regular 10% off. No way.
Yeah, there's no way.
And that's how they fucked themselves. If they had stayed more like less bargains.
There was a time where they had a deal. So I've always posted about deals on my Twitter, right? Whenever I find a deal, and there was a deal they had on these like dope ass like New Balance shoes, and they marked them incorrectly. They were supposed to be $100, but they marked them like they actually put them in the computer as $10.
Wow.
And so I let my subscribers know, and like those things sold out in like seconds. Like they were just like everyone was like, shoot, $100.
Did you buy some too?
$10. Yeah, I definitely bought a pair. And I was like,
you should have bought all the pairs and then sold them.
Well, I went to go. So this is what it ended up. This was right when they filed for bankruptcy. So right after that, none of those orders got fulfilled.
Oh.
And they ended up filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah, they had a ton of angry customers for a while, and the vendors were getting fucked. Like all the brands were getting screwed, and like I knew tons of people that were owed like 20 grand and shit.
I had a video that was like fuck Karmaloop, and then they hit me up afterwards and asked to do like a sponsorship, and I told them, I was like, I don't want to do a sponsorship with you guys unless you guys can make right all of like any subscribers that hit me up that have an issue, because I don't want to be like on YouTube like, oh yeah, they fucked you guys all over, but here's some free shit they sent me, go shopping,
And was that the first time they had ever hit you up to work together on a video?
No, we worked together prior.
And what kind of deals would those be? Would it just be like, here's free clothes, and then you have to make a video about it and mention that we gave it to you? Yeah,
at that point my YouTube, I was so much smaller than it is now, so it's like they'd give me like still a lot of money. They'd give me like $600 to $800 to spend on whatever I want.
Oh, that's cool.
And I would just go shopping basically.
Yeah. So you were able to get those deals early on?
Yeah.
With like a lot of different kind of brands, or just big ones like Karmaloop?
A lot of different brands. I feel like men's fashion has been like it's a really small group, It
is. Like, it's weird because clothes themselves are huge, but guys acknowledging that they like clothes enough to pay attention to a Twitter account or watch videos and stuff like that is such like a niche thing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy. And you see that when you even like look at the videos from like men's clothing brands and stuff, and the views are super low. Like 4Pins, like they tried to do the website thing and it just like did not get traffic.
I didn't even see that. 4Pins low-key threw shots at me one time, and I felt really...
What'd they say? What up, Lawrence? Let's air this out.
They just did like a quick little like who's man's thing,
Right.
which I love because like it was just like I've been a fan of a lot of these different like I guess companies like Complex and Four Pins for years, and like Complex has changed so much in the last decade, like
Right.
compared to what Complex was, compared to what it is now. Now it's a lot more like, I mean, their YouTube is kind of like driving so much of their traffic that I feel like it's more about like finding that like click title, you know, like clickable click.
They're well
title.
on their way to being like a TV network.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say it seems like.
But like
They're doing all the things that like TV networks do. They're just only doing it on YouTube. It's like only a matter of time till it's like a network. I
like
would think.
Vice, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But no, I love what they do. So like two of my like favorite moments was when like Complex, low key, they didn't really throw shots at me, but they threw shots at the genre of YouTube of like men's fashion unboxers. I
And
guess.
what'd they say?
They just kind of just talked shit about it basically, which is kind of weird because they have videos like they were okay with like women clothing unboxers. I think it was just a new genre at the time, and they even started their own unboxing segment in the future. And so I don't know, they didn't really say anything about me directly, but they did use in their like little slideshow pictures, they used a thumbnail from one of my videos where I looked absolutely retarded. Basically, if you screenshot any video, like I look dumb, which is fine, but yeah, so I was like super stoked about that. I had a bunch of people hit me up on Twitter like, "Oh, Complex used you in this thing." Like,
even if they're hating, it's still nice to be acknowledged.
Yeah, especially from
early on.
You know, from a company that you've loved for so long, or like look, you know, you've liked for so long.
But you weren't hurt. You weren't like, how could they say that about me? I've been supporting this brand for so long.
No, I was so hyped. Even Snyder was like, "That's so cool." Like,
that's a good attitude to have about it though, because if you're just hoping that everybody's gonna love you, it's like it's probably. But if everybody knows about you, you can count on that.
I feel like I actually we were talking about outside. I feel like it's a very possible that if someone watches one of my videos and they only watch one video at face value, that I could understand them being like, "Oh, this guy's a douche," or "This guy's a faggot," or whatever, you know. And luckily I get a lot more love than I do hate, but I feel like I like it when people actually take the time to like get to know me or get to know that like I'm not like some like 16-year-old kid that has his parents paying for his stuff. It's the exact opposite. And I'm like, I've been in this stuff for years and I'm helping my parents out off of this, you know, like.
And you don't necessarily care about having a gigantic collection, right? Aren't you more about buying stuff, showing it off, and then selling it to basically keep being able to have content?
Yeah, basically I resell a lot. I mean, I keep a lot too. Like I have a huge collection for sure, but most of my stuff that I keep is not worth a whole lot. I don't keep anything extremely rare. I sell that stuff. The pieces that I keep are usually just like, they're just personal grails, you know, like a piece that I got recently from a subscriber, he gave it to me, was a H.R. Geiger coach jacket. Haven't shown it off yet. And it's such a dope piece because H.R. Geiger did like the art for, he's the one that like did the art for like Alien. And it's just it's one of the sickest. I think it's a 2014 piece.
Right.
But yeah, and then I'm also looking at buying like a Robitussin shirt right now, so we'll see how that goes.
A Robitussin shirt?
Robitussin Supreme piece from 2013.
Okay. And so how much does that cost?
Normally they're pretty pricey. I got my eye on one right now. I can say it in the interview because by the time this is aired, I'll decide whether I'm going to buy it. But I found one for like $100, which is a pretty good deal.
Oh, okay.
So, but the pieces that I usually go after aren't extremely rare or sought after pieces. They're just certain pieces that I like, you know?
Yeah. We got to fight against that idea that like men aren't allowed to like be concerned with clothes because it's very horrible and reductive and regressive and it's terrible for the culture. Like men should be encouraged to give a fuck about clothes.
I think that like be whatever you're into, but it's weird to me when other men are so concerned with other men who are concerned about clothes. You know what I'm saying? It's like why would I care what you wear? It's like you should be
how into what you wear is.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like at the end of the day, like wear whatever you want to wear. People always ask me like, "Yo, should I rock this or do you like this?" And I'm like, at the end of the day, dude, like wear whatever you like. You know, I mean, my style is fairly like simple. I wear a lot of sweatpants. I wear just basic stuff. And whenever I give my opinions on people's style, they expect me to have like this great, like You know, I mean, it's like right now I'm wearing just a born and raised sweatsuit. You know, I'm not like flexing like crazy or anything like that. And I just feel like in general, people just expect, you know, if you're into clothes, they just like, there's guys that'll be like, oh, he's a faggot, like blah blah, or they'll just hate, and it's like so weird to me.
It's weird because like fashion itself was always based around mystery, and you know it's all about secrecy and making things expensive so that normal people can't buy them. And then you look at like your channel or a lot of the other guys who do content about, you know, sneakers or streetwear or whatever, and it like totally erases a lot of that. And it's like, oh, you know, you can totally just be like a humble, down to earth dude who's just interested in the shit, talking about it, and that kind of helps like break down those barriers. So that's like if a dude is interested in clothes, it's kind of more approachable for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I think it's cool that, I mean, especially like now we see a lot of people, like Hyson Abadi did an article recently talking about like, is streetwear being ruined because of hype, basically, because more people are getting into it. And it's like, to me, it's just like, it should be big. I mean, if someone wants to, if a man is like, wants to, you know, if he's interested in clothes and he wants to get into clothes and he wants to start learning about these brands or whatever, he shouldn't feel like it's, you know, not cool for him to do it or whatever. Right. Which I feel like that's more of like a Midwest thing. I feel like in LA, I feel like out here I see tons of dudes. Everyone's concerned with how they're dressed.
I will see a 9-year-old kid walking by on the street who's wearing a full fucking Bape outfit. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he'll be with his dad. His dad's dressed pretty normal. I'm like, how the fuck? And maybe I'm exaggerating when I say 9, but I'm like, how did this kid figure this out, that this was like a thing? I did not know about this when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know about like one cool clothing line. I'm listening to Biggie talk about Coogee. I don't know what the fuck that is. It took many, many years for me to figure that out.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when I was a kid, I was really into FUBU.
Right.
I loved FUBU, but that's only because I watched my brother with like his all white FUBU tracksuit.
Right.
Like, and I just remember thinking like he was so cool.
See, I'm a
or there
little
was like
older.
certain styles like swooshy pants, you know, parachute pants.
Well, you know, my pivotal experience with fashion, to be totally honest, was when I was 13. I'm in 7th grade. I go from elementary school to junior high, and then I see all these kids wearing Jinkos. And I had, you know, it's like nothing I'd ever seen before. When people told me that they cost like $60 a pair, I'm like, that's fucking insane. Because I've probably been buying, you know, $10 jeans from fucking Old Navy my whole life with my mom or whatever, you know? And all of a sudden there's these colorful, gigantic pants. They cost $60. My mind was blown. And then like, you know, I got into it. I started buying them and stuff, started saving up my money for my paper route. I started like experimenting with clothes and stuff. But then like seeing how Jinko went from the coolest shit in the world to the lamest shit in the world, like within a year for me,
it was quick.
That's sort of like really made me just feel like, you know what, maybe I don't want to be that kind of person that's like really interested in the hot new brands. That's how I felt at that time. And I felt like I kind of then around that time is when I got into BMX, and BMX is like, it's not a fashion-y community, like, or at least if it is, they don't want to acknowledge it. It's very much like you wear a t-shirt, you wear your tight black jeans, your fucking Vans, and that's it. And like, it's kind of not encouraged to like be showboaty or whatever.
Yeah.
So I sort of like missed out on that kind of like era. Like when people talk about Jordans and like, you know, or like FUBU and stuff, like I remember FUBU and I liked rap, but I was always like, nah, that's not for me.
That's kind of fascinating because you think about it, like a lot of people, like one of the comments that I'll get from some, like usually people who don't skate themselves will be like, why do you wear Supreme if you don't skate, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny because like,
why do you wear Jordans if you don't ball?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I've had a skater style for a while, you know. I've worn like BMX clothes. When I started getting into like how I dress or caring about how I dressed more like in like skater clothes for a while. Mm-hmm. But that's also because like riding, like when I was like riding bikes, I was always hanging out at like skate parks with like friends who would also skateboard. There was never like that like, oh, BMXers don't hang with skaters or anything. Like they would always just kick it together. Right. And so I kind of got my style from just the people I ended up surrounding myself with. Yeah. But that's true though, that I mean, for the most part, even skaters that like actually skate you don't really see a lot of skaters like actually skating in Supreme. Right. Maybe in like some places in LA, in New York maybe, but
if they get it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, because I mean, there's nothing that you're more likely to fall on your back and fuck your shirt off doing than skating. Yeah. Yeah,
and so I don't know. I mean, with BMX, it's kind of the same way. You don't really see a lot of people like that were really into clothes. Mm-hmm.
This is an exception to the rule for the most part. Although, to be honest, now I feel like, you see a lot of skaters rocking designer shit when they're off their board or even when they are, and it's just kind of like a flex. It's so much more of a normalized thing. I was seeing that Gucci is experiencing like record profits right now, and I totally understand it because I feel like I've never heard this many people talk about Gucci in my entire life. It just feels like the expensive ass clothes has become such a mainstream thing.
Well, and their designs have really changed a lot. Like
That's true.
They went from like really boring. I mean, I love the double G monogram, but that was like their thing, was just like this basic double G monogram, and now they have all these crazy loud like floral prints, the snake pattern.
You should do what you do, but do it for Gucci and Louis and shit. That would be hard.
Yeah, I would need to hit like a next level of income.
You need an investor.
Like,
yeah. Because couldn't you be doing the resale with all that? Because like, okay, is that a money making part of your business? Like somehow get your way into getting the Supreme order, and then you sell the stuff and make money. So it's like you're making money from that, and then you're also making money from the YouTube ads. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So the majority of my money probably comes from, well, it's kind of a hit. So like I make money from ad revenue. I make money from reselling Supreme.
You didn't get demonetized on YouTube.
I definitely got a big hit for sure. Because I cuss a lot.
Oh.
I've been trying to cut back on that.
You think that's why they got you?
Oh, I think it has to be. Why else would it?
Fucked.
I mean, what else are they gonna do? That's fucked.
I mean, with me, I choose to blame it on the
demonetized.
weed and the sex.
Dude, it could be the cussing. There's
Cussing
no
definitely doesn't
there's
hurt.
no weed in my videos. I had one video that did do pretty good. It got like almost 500,000 views, where it was like naked girl magically appears in my bed.
Oh yeah, the word naked. I would never put that in a title because I would just assume I'd get demonetized. Right
I
away.
didn't get demonetized.
Really?
Yeah, I got paid, but you can the amount that I got paid is so much less than normal.
Yeah.
Got like 500,000 views, and I got like $100.
Yeah.
You know, but it was a great vlog. I mean, that was like the first 10 seconds, and then, you know, of course, the rest of the vlog is fucking fire. Go watch that.
Everything I've ever done is fire.
It's fucking dope, dude.
Okay, but so you're making money by reselling stuff, I'm assuming, as well, right?
Yeah. So I make money from reselling. Before I started reselling Supreme, me and another YouTuber who's also a fan of No Jumper, Paul Cantu, me and him started HFV. And where we basically would go to the thrifts and we'd resell vintage clothes. So we would sell just like vintage polo.
He stays in the vintage shop.
He stays in the trenches. Yeah, he stays in the thrifts, man.
I can't believe they let him vlog in there like that.
So
I'm always thinking like, aren't they gonna tell him to stop?
there's a story that actually, and if you get him on an interview, which you should, there's a good story that he might be able to disclose to you about vlogging and issues he's had with that.
I bet he's had issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple issues with like, cause like I'll do trips to the thrift too. I haven't done one lately, but I'll do trips to the thrift, and like, you know, Goodwill will be like, oh, you can. Certain Goodwills will be like, oh, you can't record in here, and I'll just tweet like fuck Goodwill or whatever.
Yeah. Or just be real sneaky about it and like just keep your camera real low to the ground and stuff.
I usually just leave. I'll tell them like, I'm like, hey, like, you know, this is what I do. Like, are you sure I can't vlog? Like, is there anyone I can talk to? And they'll be like, no, you can't. And then I'll just be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go, you know.
So you cash out on reselling your stuff.
Yeah, basically that's probably the majority of where my income comes from, is reselling.
Where do you sell your stuff? eBay or Depop, or what do you do?
No, so we have
you just said, yeah.
Yeah, I have two Instagrams, one for the vintage stuff, which is HFV official, and then Robitus and Poppy, where I resell Supreme.
Nice.
So,
and do you feel like you're mostly selling to your fans, or is it just like Supreme fans in general and stuff?
well, it's become like a big like group. I feel like the account has been followed by like so many different people, because now there's people that will learn about my YouTube from Instagram, because I push Instagram a lot more than I do YouTube. Like YouTube's something that I don't really like. I like, but I just feel like the culture of YouTube is just so much less creative, and it's more focused around like the craziest title, the craziest thumbnail, and not like necessarily the content at all.
It's like on YouTube, there's no room for you to be low key or to be stylish or swaggy, because you have to do these ridiculous thumbnails and titles to get views, right?
Exactly.
So there's not like, it's like if you want to be a really tasteful YouTuber, you'll
never see any views.
You don't see a lot of people do it. Like even like you don't see a lot of lowercase titles and stuff, because it's and that's why I think like being a YouTuber and being really into fashion are sort of hard things for people to accept that they can coexist.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
feel like you deal with a lot of that, because like the people who are into like maybe who are into streetwear, they kind of look at your channel and you're like, no, that's making it like it's too easy, too accessible, too cartoony.
So it's kind of like 50-50. Like, I feel like I've met some really like cool dudes that I've been surprised they were subscribed. Like, I'll meet like hood dudes that'll just be like, yo, I fuck with your shit, like blah blah.
That's the best feeling,
and
right?
I'm like, that's dope that you watch it. There's this dude actually who I really want him to make videos again. His name is Trendy Rossi, right? And I met him when I was in DC on my way to UAE, and like, he didn't tell me he made videos or anything, but he came up and he was like, he was working at the Smithsonian. He was just like, yo, I fuck with your videos. He was like, man, you're so fitted. I had like some like my polo pajama pants on with like a polo, like a big horse polo on.
So you're fresh even in the military.
Yeah, always,
Gang.
And so, and he came up and I came across his channel and he was just such a dope dude. And I still, like, I sent him a text the other day and I was like, bro, you got to start making videos again because his content's really cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fascinating. Like, it's 50-50. Sometimes I'll get people who are just like, oh, like, you're this, you're that, or whatever. But like I said, I can kind of understand that. My titles are like, sometimes I'll have like a title like, I spent $5,000 on Supreme, which is a ridiculous, like, just over the top title. Right. But
it's eye catching.
Exactly. And that's exactly the point.
YouTube's all about getting people to click.
Yeah. And it's like, and YouTube has a weird community too, where it's like they don't want YouTubers to make money. Like, it's like you get frowned upon for trying. People are like, oh, you're just doing this to make money. Yeah, I don't want to work at McDonald's. Like,
such idiocy. It's so stupid. It's like, oh, like you spend like your whole life making videos so that I can sit here on my ass and watch them for 10 minutes a day, and then you actually expect to somehow be able to make a living from this? Oh, people are so fucking shitty with that.
It's a weird culture on YouTube. Like,
it's so lame.
I feel like it's just like certain people, like big YouTubers, started hating on like people doing like Patreons and stuff like that.
Hell when I tried that.
And then because I saw that actually, and then because they hated on that, it's like all their fans just regurgitated what their people they looked up to said. Right. And they just couldn't form their own thoughts or their own opinions or like actually like try to think like, oh wow, like someone's trying to make money because it's what they spend their day doing, and they would way rather do that. Like, if you asked almost any person on the planet, like, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you, like, oh, I would way rather make YouTube videos and make more money than work some 9-to-5 job. Yeah.
And you should be happy to support creators that make stuff that you enjoy. Like, if you really like shit, you shouldn't be embarrassed about fucking, giving that person a little bit of money, because let's face it, a lot, like with YouTube, we're seeing it. It's like, if your content goes outside the realm of what they consider appropriate, then at any given moment, they could take your fucking livelihood away. And in the long run, that means that you're going to get to watch less videos. Like, I was a daily vlogger until fucking they took all that money away. And then all of a sudden I started falling off. Now I'm lucky if I do 1 or 2 a week. And it's like, for the people at home, it's like, maybe they're hating on me, fucking laughing at me when I lost money. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you like watching these videos, you're going to see less of them if I make less money. Let's be honest. I got to.
Well, you have to do something else to make that money.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you got to go in the direction of stuff that's going to fucking make you be able to pay the bills. And yeah, it does have to do with passion and what you want to do. But at the same time, no grown person can afford to put all their time into something that is fucking
not paying
losing money or not making enough. Yeah. And that's even for us. Like, for us, we don't necessarily need like a budget to make videos, because I did that to set all the shit up, but I don't really like have to spend money to make stuff. But a lot of people who've been hit by that YouTube shit are people who have to go spend a couple $100 to pay their employees or afford the studio time, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, even with me, like I have to spend the money to buy the clothes to show off, to get the content. Without the clothes, there's not content. I can do other things where I can do like discussion videos or like styled videos or whatever. But that's kind of why I started the resale thing too. And then when I got hit with the ad revenue, like my ad revenue went from like $2,000 a month to like a steady like $750 a month. So I'm making like a little more than a third of what I was making. Right. But at the end of the day, like, it's still like, I'm happy with what I get now. Like, I'm satisfied with it, but I don't want everything to be in YouTube. And that whole situation kind of showed me, like, I'd much rather, I never planned on being a YouTuber. When I was a kid, I wanted to have a clothing brand, which was way different than what I'm working on now. But that was always like my dream. I never wanted to have, like, I never thought like, oh, I'm going to be hella known, I'm going to have followers. Like, I just wanted to have a clothing brand and take pictures of stuff. Like,
The adpocalypse to me was the biggest eye opener, because for a while I was making so much money off YouTube that I was like, man, I don't give a fuck about nothing. Like, I'm just going to keep doing this shit because this shit is so good that I don't give a fuck about putting ads on the podcast or doing an online store for no jumper or doing all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, this fucking YouTube money is so beautiful that I'm just going to fucking go 100% on this. They take that away. I'm like, man, you know what? Like, I need 10 different revenue streams, and maybe one of them is 5% of the biggest one. But hey, that's a fucking seed of an opportunity, and that's always something you could work on. Like, you got to have a whole bunch of different plans these days, because
that's what Philip DeFranco talked about a while ago.
Yeah,
it was about like stretching out, like never putting all of it in one basket, and like, you know, having multiple sources of revenue.
Yeah, now I got like the streaming shit, but if the streaming shit goes out the window, then I could put more effort into the online store and vice versa. You know, you got to really be able to focus on it from all angles these days if you want to be able to make money as like an internet creator.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do once you start getting a following, and you start, like, people like your content and like what you create, you know?
Do you feel like you have to create content about all of the hype brands because those are the brands that people want to see, and that there's not as much room for what you personally are into? Do you get that fucked up in your head because you have different incentives?
That's a good question. No, I mean, there's some hype brands that I just don't show off, and a lot of people will like tell me like, oh, you should show this brand off. Like Antisocial, I think, minus their last collection, which I'm gonna do a video on that soon. Like, for the most part, their shit's fucking trash.
Yeah, why does anyone like that? It's just super lame.
It's so fucking retarded.
I don't get that at all.
It's literally like their first 3 collections is just like that one logo printed on different colored. I see different hoodies. Random
Korean people in my apartment building wearing it, and I'm just like, why do you want this? Like,
yeah,
what did they do?
And that's the thing is, I could easily buy all the brands, right? I could buy Antisocial stuff really easily. I'm aware of whenever they're dropping, because like I have to know when everything's dropping, right? Another one that's been getting a lot of popularity that I actually do somewhat like, it, not like super into, is Rip and Dip. There's companies that I can make a lot of views off of that I choose not to, just because I don't genuinely like what they do. With Supreme, there are Supreme pieces that I'll buy that I don't like, but I always keep it real. I'm always like I had a North Face that I got, and I love the Supreme North Faces. Like, being from Washington, I just love the North Face. It's always been a brand that I've loved. And so there's this one they did last season where it was like the fall leaves camo. I guess now it's 2 seasons ago. It was the ugliest Supreme North Face I've ever seen in my life. And I bought it, and I was like, this is garbage. I don't like this piece. It's a nice jacket because it's the North Face, but the design of it's dumb. And then I still resold it, you know. I could have probably hyped it up and tried to make a little bit more money off of it, but that's when you're just getting into like I feel like if you're dishonest, the viewers will see that. And then over time, you won't make as much money as you would have just being honest and being real with people, because then people will, you know, fuck with you because they can trust what you're saying, you know?
Are you still able to have like a one-on-one relationship with your audience? Do you try to respond a lot and stuff?
I do. So it gets hard. Like in the comments, it gets really hard. Oh, yeah. I feel like I don't read comments as much as I used to, but in my Instagram lives, I try to do Instagram lives. I probably do it way more than I should, but I love talking to people who support me. I actually had a situation, crazy thing that happened. This dude, the guy that sent me that HR Geiger, right? He's a Marine, right? And he was deploying, and he hit me up, and he's like, well, he's on my lives, and he lets me know, you know, that he's a Marine, right? So then he ends up asking for my number or something like that. Or no, I told him, I said, if you're ever overseas, you know, and you feel stressed out, hit me up, right? So I give him my number. He texts me, and then he asks if he could FaceTime me. I FaceTime him. We're just talking. He's just a cool dude, right? And so we're like chopping it up for a while. And then randomly he decides that he wants to send me a CDG box logo. And if you're familiar with Supreme, the CDG box logo is a pretty sought after piece, right? So he sends me that for free. He sent me some Babestas for free. He sent me a bunch of stuff, and he just did that. I didn't expect that to happen. Like, I genuinely just ended up chopping it up with him. I have a couple subscribers that I'll play like Overwatch with. Shout out to the homie Fuego. He's like my main, like, he's a subscriber I always play with. But yeah, he's a cool dude. He's really dope.
Do you have brands sending you clothes for free directly now?
Yeah, like the brand I sent you, Profound Aesthetic. They're a brand I support heavy.
Because we're gonna do a streetwear review too. How much longer are you around for? Do you live here now? I forget.
No, I got like 2.5 weeks left here.
Oh, okay. So let's do a streetwear review like next week or something.
Yeah, I'm down. But yeah, so Profound Aesthetics, a dope one. A lot of the brands that I like, they don't really send me stuff.
Yeah, because like the big dope ones are the ones who don't have to fuck with smaller.
Exactly.
People,
you know, like I did a video on this actually about like 10 Deep not sending stuff, or not. I should say not being appreciative, because like Born and Raised has been a brand that I've loved forever, and they've never sent me anything. And even though I can't really like resell their stuff, I love the culture behind their brand, so I always put on for them.
But that stuff doesn't resell.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Interesting.
But the stuff Born and Raised holds its value better than some brands, like certain pieces, but it doesn't resell for more than what you pay for it.
Right.
You know, so like, and even some Supreme pieces don't. You know, you just kind of have to know. Everyone thinks it's like so easy to resell. They think like, oh, I'll buy some Supreme and resell it. And it's not really that simple. You have to know what pieces resell. You have to have a following. If you don't have a following, you're selling on eBay, which is going to take 10%. And it's just like,
so like that 10% right there might be the whole profit margin, right?
Yeah, that's basically your margin for the most part.
Right.
Unless you're like,
that's for the most part the margin. So you buy $100 shirt, you're gonna sell it for 110 on average.
For shirts, it's different. Shirts, I usually would say probably like 50% margins.
Oh, okay.
But like sweaters, you know, I mean, they've raised their prices over the years, so now, you know, a lot of their hoodies are $158, $148.
Right.
You know, after shipping, you're paying $158, $168. And so, you know, depending on the hoodie, there's some hoodies that don't even sell for more than what they retailed for. But then there's, of course, hoodies that will sell out in, you know, less than 10 seconds that will resell for $250.
Right.
But
It's primarily the box logo stuff, the more identifiable stuff.
Yeah, definitely. The box logos are the most sought after. I get some shit sometimes because I'm not a big fan of the box logo. I don't think it's like the craziest thing ever. And people, for some reason, feel the need to like, what? You don't like the box logo? This is insane.
You know what I oftentimes find myself thinking when I watch your videos, though, is just that it seems kind of like a hard thing to make videos about, because there is not that much to say half the time when you're like, this is a dope shirt. It's a really clean design. It's slick. It's dope. It's
fire.
popping. It's fire. But it's kind of like, what am I, you know, you guys all know it's a t-shirt with something printed on it. Like, what am I really supposed to say? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
is that a challenge?
It definitely is. Like, describing pieces is definitely somewhat, I mean, without sounding like too like pompous, I guess, without being like, oh, this fabric is like, so, you know, like,
Right.
But I do try to talk about like fabrics or things that I like, or pieces that I'll pair it with. But yeah, that's the other thing about like having a huge quantity. And I tend to talk a lot. Like, I like talking. Like, I had a situation when I was a kid where like I guess I couldn't hear myself talk, and I had like a surgery, and ever since then my mom said I just never shut up.
Really?
Yeah, and so like for me, I love talking. So like I'll make a video, like a 10-minute Supreme video is really me talking for like 30 minutes, and I'm just chopping out 20 minutes of just talking.
So has it always come easy for you to be on camera doing the vlogging thing?
No.
It was hard in the beginning?
It was awkward. Like, it was like, you know, like people will see this interview, right? And like they'll just see two people talking, but it's like when you're by yourself talking to a camera, you're looking into the camera in a dead silent room, as silent as possible, preferably with like very little echo or reverb, and you're just sitting there talking to a camera, and there's no response yet because you haven't uploaded or edited it, so you don't see any response from comments. So to me, that was really weird.
It's super weird. It's like when I think back to my early days doing it, because right now I could do that. I could set a camera right here. Boom, I'm going to talk into the camera for a half hour. I don't give a fuck. Doesn't bother me. It would be the same thing as me sitting here talking to you. But when you first get started, it is the weirdest fucking thing on earth, because you really have to have that self-belief. Like, oh, people on the internet want to hear what I have to say. And a lot of people don't really have that confidence level to be like, oh, like, people care about what I want to talk about. Because in the beginning, you don't. Like, in the beginning, if you're just starting out, you're probably going to get 50 views, and you're just going to have to grind it out during that time when you don't have shit going on.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it was definitely weird starting out. Like, my old videos, some of them are still up. Like, I'm just like, all right, guys, well, like, yeah, so this is what I got. I got this thing. And then, like, my cuts aren't as good, and I don't have, like, the same energy. I don't know. It's weird. But I will say, like, when the camera turns on, there's a certain, like, level of energy that, like, it changes. Like, I could be just like super mad, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get a video done. I'm just like hella angry. I turn the camera on, and then I'm like, what up, YouTube? Welcome to Starr Life. Today we got these little, like yada yada yada. So,
Can you vlog when you're in a bad mood though, like a horrible mood?
no, so
Sucks, right?
yeah, because I mean, I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
But I don't
Never
really
mind pretend to be happy.
like vlogging. Isn't like I love making vlogs, but like when I do a vlog, like I take a lot of time to do like to edit them, I color grade them, and so like I don't know, vlogging isn't like my main focus. I'd like to actually stick more to unboxings, which I've gone back and forth on for a long time, but I just feel like unless I'm making more on YouTube, it doesn't make sense for me to pour all this time into like editing these really dope vlogs or like really cool edits. I still want to do like cool edits, because when I first started my channel, my thing was like I wanted to put people on cool music, and like I wanted to be more than just clothes. I wanted people to like just introduce people to cool things that I find enjoyable, like hiking. I love hiking. I'm always in the mountains, and so like I want to still do edits like that and like edit it to cool music and put people on cool artists that I support.
That's dope.
And that was like my first thing. Then I wanted to do something like needle drop for a while. I just felt like music's always been such a big part of my life, and like I love all different genres of music.
So you wanted to review though?
Yeah, I would have loved to do that.
Could you still see yourself going down different roads like that? Because Anthony Fantano, he has like the music review channel.
The meme
channel. Now he
channel.
has the meme channel, and then he has his own like news channel where he basically just gives his opinion on different news stories. And that one's blowing up. He got like 150K, and it's only
I think
been
my
like
favorite from him right now
month.
is the meme channel. Like
I
the
love the
bowling
meme
other
channel.
YouTubers is
Yeah.
so funny.
Somebody like put my name in the comments, and I was like, I got all hyped, like, oh man, am I in this?
God, I hope
I wasn't
I
in
get-
it.
Yeah, I hope I get bullied by Anthony Fantano.
Yeah, I want to see what he says. It'd be funny. It's funny as shit because once in a while he landed on Daddy of 5 and he just goes, there are literally videos of you abusing your children on the internet. I'm
I
like,
watched that today.
because it's like, how can you get away from that?
Yeah.
Oh,
He
man.
is funny, man. I've always like looked up to his videos, and I disagree with a lot of his reviews, but that's what it is,
So
and
you
I
don't
feel
think
like,
Damn was a 7?
huh?
You don't think Damn was a 7?
No, actually, I like Damn. I will say I haven't given Damn the same like listening time that I've given other Kendrick albums.
That's true. I listened to it like 2 times because now I feel such pressure to be listening to so much new shit that I feel like I could land on a great album like the Kendrick album. I probably listened to it like 4 or 5 times, but that's not enough for something that great, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like right now I'm listening to the Vic Mensa album.
Okay. I
Who's getting
will
a-
not be doing that. Yeah.
Getting a lot of heat right now from academics fans around the world.
Such as myself. Yeah.
I like some of the songs on his new album though. I listened to the Jay-Z album, and when I was a kid, I was never a big like Jay-Z fan.
Jay-Z just made the perfect old man album.
This was a good album.
It's
444.
it's never been done better. No old ass motherfucker has ever made an album that was that perfect for where he was at in his life, in my opinion.
I think that was a great album.
He
Like,
continues to amaze me with his brilliance. I made like a joke about how Maddox was better than Jay-Z, and then I started to think about it. I'm like, man, I always heard Jay-Z like really knows about what people are saying about him. So if he ever saw that, that would suck.
well, did you ever listen to like Magna Carta?
You know, honestly, I kind of missed that one.
Good.
I listened
It was
to
a
it a little
terrible
bit, but didn't really care at all.
Yeah,
So yeah.
you should be grateful that the universe allowed you to miss that album. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But that's why I was so happy when 444 came out, because it was just like, that was a good album. It was so much better. It was way less like tacky. I felt like the Magna Carta was just like a really terrible album for Jay-Z.
Yeah. I should go back and dig in a little bit because I don't even really remember it.
You probably shouldn't. It's a bad one.
Are there any like artists in particular that you're really trying to put on in the underground right now?
Right now, honestly, like my main focus is like putting on for like my friends that make music. Like, I feel like I've met some really talented people that are in bad situations or like don't. Like I texted you the other day, right? Like I texted you when you played my vlog on the live stream.
Right. That
And
was fun.
I was like, yo, if you get some time, check out, because like I feel like there's just talented people in Tacoma that I would love to see get big and like put on for Tacoma. And like Phoenix, for example, he's such
Shout
a
out
cool
Phoenix.
dude.
Yeah.
He makes music, produces, like he does just a little bit of everything.
Swag God.
Yeah, swag god.
He just, pause and everything, but he's just like a great looking man. He just walks, he just oozes swag. It's fantastic.
Yeah, he actually, so me and him have like mutual friends in Tacoma, which is how like me and him linked up. Like I was actually good friends with with his cousin Todd. Like when I was in like I was like friends with all the Crumpers.
Okay.
Back in the day.
So what is that for everybody? I forget too. It's like a dance style, right?
Yeah. You weren't into the crump scene?
No.
Yeah. So like, yeah, crumping is like a dance style. I never personally crumped. I would just like video record my friends doing it. But yeah, it was just like
You should make a crumping video for your channel.
I have tons of crumping footage.
Or just make a separate crumping channel.
Just separate crumping. I don't think it's big enough these days.
No?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's because you ain't making videos about it.
I'm gonna blow it up, you know.
Do you see?
I mean, think about BMX, right? You guys, we were just talking outside, like how like you guys have become you guys are arguably one of the biggest things in BMX right now.
Oh yeah, biggest brand in BMX. Nobody knows about other brands more than us.
Yeah,
On some shit, baby.
On some shit, baby.
Every BMX kid, it's like weird for them, I think, because now everybody knows about No Jumper, and not everybody, but a lot of people know about No Jumper. So even kids who don't like me, they got to hear about it all the time. They're riding bikes. They got people yelling No Jumper at them out their car.
Yeah, I think
love
it's
that.
dope. Like I see
It's great.
so many.
It's like I've left a curse upon them.
I've seen so many people that have like gone into BMX because of No Jumper.
I get those DMs. I love those DMs. It's great because I feel like there's a whole generation of kids that they just need strong role models from YouTube that they can relate to and be like, hey, you can go out, you can chase after your passions and do what you're into, whether it's clothes or fashion and music or whatever. So I think like channels like ours, to a young kid, to like a 18-year-old kid, if I put myself in my shoes as an 18-year-old, I would definitely be the kid who was watching my own videos, somebody like you, somebody like Anthony Fantano, because kids just get crazy inspiration from that. Because they're like, these guys are just random motherfuckers who started YouTube channels. It's like, I never had anybody put any money into me. It's not like you had some big fucking thing happen to you. Nobody gave you a chance. You made your own chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, it's cool that we have kids that like when I get kids that are like, oh, you're an inspiration or whatever, I think that's like the trippiest thing ever. But I like it most when kids will be like, oh, you got me into photography, or I went hiking because of you, or I listened to this artist because of you. Like, you put me on. Like, I have so many kids from back in the day that were like, oh, you put me on Bones or Xavier Wolf, or back then Ethel Wolf.
I remember that. I remember when I used to go to parties with him and people would still be calling him Ethel Wolf when I first met him. Yeah,
I remember when I used a Chris Travis song, and someone was like, "It's not Chris Travis, it's Kenshin Travis." And I was
he don't even want his name to be Kenshin Travis. The guy who has Chris Travis doesn't want to give it up.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, he would have @Chris Travis on Twitter.
I was like, dude, like this is what it was when I started listening to it, all right, and this is what it will remain in my music player as forever.
If Chris Travis is in like Apple Music or some shit, it's Chris Travis. It's not Kenshin Travis. It's just that on social media.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. Someone was trying to correct me.
So wait, Bones talk shit on you? What happened?
Okay, so so there's two artists that I've used. I'm not gonna name one of them because he's a bitch and he doesn't deserve any clout.
Ooh.
But Bones deserves all the clout in the world. He's great. Bones, if you're watching this, I love you. So anyways, basically like I named these two artists and I was like, oh, I can't really use their music anymore because they're getting flagged, right? Which is just common sense, right? It's not like I'm like uploading their music with like a cover photo and trying to profit off their music. I just use their music in little edits that I do, you know? It's not like that's the main focus of. But
you'll use it for like an extended background audio, because whenever I put a song in a video, I'll use like less than 10 seconds and they never seem to get claimed.
Yeah, I'll do like a lookbook. So like I'll not like necessarily just a lookbook, but like an edit for like 2-3 minutes of like what I'm doing throughout the day.
But for a while, Bones' shit wasn't getting claimed. He didn't have one of those agencies, but now it does.
It does get claimed, but he claimed on there in all caps, so I'm assuming he was yelling it, but he always yells everything. So
probably just speaking loudly.
Basically, like this wasn't like basically, oh, that's some fake ass Bones shit claiming it. It's not me. Blah blah blah. And then I put on there like one of my things was like, oh, I can't make money off it, so I can't use the music. And he just put, you lose. And I was like, I guess I lose. I mean, I'm just gonna use someone else's music. Like it's not that big. I mean,
that's why somebody like him should have their music claimed on YouTube, is just so that other people aren't able to come in and do it. You know, like
for him.
Yeah, because it's like, even if he doesn't want to make money off YouTube, which is like, okay, fine. It's like you should still do it just so that other people can't try to take the copyright of your stuff.
Yeah, like my thing is like I wasn't even like really tripping that I couldn't use their I was more if anything, it was more of like a bummer because their music makes really cool like vibes for whatever I'm doing. So like it was more like a bummer, like, you know, I love using like Calcium when I'm going hiking. Like that's such a dope song for like hiking little edits, you know. And I have some other producers that let me use their production, that I'll use their stuff. But it wasn't like I was like hating on either of them, right? And then one of them responded with like, whatever. And then Bones responded with how Bones responded, and which I was like, this is tight. Like, it was kind of like when Four Pins like low key just like talk shit or roasted me or whatever. Same thing. I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, keep going in on me, Bones. Like, what are you gonna do? I was kind of sad he deleted the tweets afterwards, and I was like,
really?
damn. I was like, I wish I would have screenshotted or something.
Gotta say rare.
Yeah, it was. I would have freaking printed it out or something, you know. But but then the other artist. So then I got asked about it, and then the other artists, I guess like hella people started like commenting. And I told people, I was like, yeah, go let him know. Like, he's a bitch for, you know, if he would have, I didn't care if he would have responded like, oh, I appreciate you supporting, but, you know, I'm trying to make my bread or whatever, you know, I would have been like, oh, it's respectable, you know, like everyone's out to get theirs.
They probably didn't really understand what you're saying, like that you were just trying to use it for the little things.
Well, there's a lot of people that have commented like, oh, I'm here from Jacob Starr, blah, blah. Or like my friend who makes YouTube videos. I don't know if you ever heard of Black Charcoal.
No.
Well, I showed you Pootie,
right?
Yeah. The guy that did the XXX in the drive-thru, right?
Yeah.
So one of his friends, Black Charcoal, also makes videos. He used one of his videos, and like he linked the YouTube video. I used to link his SoundCloud, and he linked the YouTube video, and every comment is like, BBC sent me, Charcoal sent me, Big Black Shark sent me, yada yada yada, right? And so this guy knows that he put on, and he knows that I put Charcoal onto him. So it's like he either knew, I mean, unless he just doesn't pay attention to comments, he's not like super big, you know. But it's irrelevant. I mean, either way, both of them make great music. I mean, you know, like I said, Bones makes great music. It's just harder and harder for me to do those types of edits when I'm like at risk for getting copyright claims against me.
You got to just put the bat signal out there and get some instrumentals from the producers or whatever, because I always see John Hicks like asking people for like fun upbeat type beats that like are kind of like the beats that Casey Neistat always uses.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't really like always using those, you know. Like I like using like I said, the whole reason when I did my channel was like one of the main things is like I wanted to put on for underground music, you know. And so it's kind of hard to do that when you can't use.
You got to go deeper underground.
10 seconds.
You got to be on that No Jumper live stream. Find some hits off of there.
Well, that's the thing is I'll use stuff, but then like
Yeah.
Their production will have a sample in it that'll get picked up.
That's happened to me. We put a music video on the channel, and like the artist was like told me like I won't claim it, so you can make the money off it, which I didn't even really give a fuck, but I was like, all right, cool. And then as soon as I put it up, the beat was like it was claimed because of another artist who rapped over the beat, and then the producer was pissed because he's like, I'm not getting any money for this, and I'm like, well, I'm not either. Some other dude is. This is your problem. Like, if anybody should be making the money, it's either the artist or the producer, not the guy who stole the beat. And in this case, like, it was supposed to be me, but I'm like, I'm not going to sweat this fucking $20 that this video is going to make. Back when you can make some decent money on YouTube, I would have probably been like, you know, a little bit more concerned. But nowadays, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Big deal. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, oh no, $30, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess for me, I still want to put on for underground music on my channel. I want to do more than just fashion. But like I said, my main focus, like, for me at this point is growing other things like my Instagram. That's what I like. I don't know. I love taking pictures. I've always wanted to take pictures.
You took some very nice photos of me.
Thank you, yeah.
I noticed that they did very well with the likes. I borrowed some of your clothing for it.
Yeah, you got like 31,000 likes.
That was our whole little plan, was to see if we would be able to get my likes to consistently go up by me rocking Preem. So he let me borrow some of his stuff. And then but I feel like it's not really like a fair case, because you took the photos and then edited them and made them look a lot better than the average photo that I post, which is almost always an iPhone photo. Yeah. So it's like, yes, the Preem probably helped, but then also the nice camera and the photoshopping to make it stick out more, that probably helped a lot too.
Well, you were saying that the Supreme pictures either on Twitter or Instagram did better than the ones with Dex.
That was my comparison. I'm like, the picture that you took of me standing there wearing Supreme got more likes than the picture of me standing there wearing just plain black, but I'm with Famous Dex. So is it that, you know, because like Famous Dex is just one man. You know, there are many millions or many thousands of Supreme garments on planet Earth. Yeah. There's only one Famous Dex, but still the likes seem to come more from the Supreme. That maybe says a little bit about the power.
And the pieces you were wearing were pretty hyped.
Yeah.
Especially like the North Face, the Peach Box.
I still can't believe I fit into those size small pants.
I can't believe that either.
I wasn't really able to walk around much.
Yeah, they were pretty tight in the thigh region.
Yeah.
If somebody had walked in, didn't fit you too terribly.
It would have been nice if it was one size bigger, but it was definitely. It would have been nice if it wasn't so hot, because it was so hot that it was just like, man, I felt bad. I'm like, man, he's gonna put this on and he's gonna smell like a fucking podcaster.
How do you feel about like when you see, because like I wore that outfit to SneakerCon, right? And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, like that's dope. And for me, like I normally wouldn't wear those together. Just because it's a little bit loud.
It really is. You definitely look like a Power Ranger rocking that whole thing together.
You look like a firefighter, a astronaut, something, you know. But it's more like almost like a costume piece, you know.
Yeah, it's very different. It's like theatrical. It reminds me of the shiny suit age of Bad Boy Records, like Mason Biggie, and they were wearing all these crazy suits. Yeah. It's kind of what it reminds me of when you got the matching top and bottom.
What's cool about that piece though is that piece is from it's modeled after like an 89 or 90 like Antarctic expedition. Yeah. And I almost spent $1,300 on just the North Face piece. It's like a vintage piece that I've always wanted in my collection. And then this year Supreme drops this, which is modeled after that. And that was kind of cool for me. So now I have the Supreme one. So I still want the vintage one, but I can't justify spending $1,300 for a vintage North Face. But
yeah, I'd have to hit a lick before I did that. I'd have to have a lot of money bulging out of my pockets to spend $1,300 on a jacket.
Yeah, a jacket that I'd probably never wear. But the Supreme North Face, I'm going to use that for like hiking. That's going to be my new hiking outfit.
See, that's the problem out here is that it's like, okay, T-shirts. I get so many T-shirts for free that I can't even imagine spending money on a T-shirt, not to mention I own multiple brands that make T-shirts. Then there's like jeans. Okay. And I should just get more into shoes, because out here, that's the whole thing, is that it's super dope to be able to go buy some sick ass $300, $500, whatever dollar jacket, and that's like a total look. But out here, you got like a month and a half out of the whole fucking year that you can wear a jacket.
Oh yeah,
it's so hot out here.
It's death out here. Like I get in my car, my glasses fog up. I feel like such a nerd.
Out here, it's like you can't even like wear pants. Like you don't even want to wear pants for like half the year because it's so hot.
And that's weird for me too, because I wear like black every day for the most part.
Yeah.
And so I'll wear like black pants, black shirt, and I'm just like sweating balls out here. It's different. Washington is the exact opposite. It's like you get 3 months where you can really like dress for the sun, and the rest of it's just cloudy weather, rain.
And it sucks too, because I'll notice myself getting into the lazy style of dress where I'm wearing shorts and fucking slides every day, and then just like a t-shirt. And then, like, I'll see a girl on the street, and I want to talk to her, and I'll be like, oh, no, I'm dressed like a fucking dad right now. Like, I wish I was wearing something cool, you know?
Well, I don't know if you were out there when there was a dude, he was dressed very basic. He had a very attractive woman on his side. He was also driving a Porsche Carrera, but...
That helps.
Yeah, it was a nice Porsche Carrera. So, you know, if you weren't... I mean, you're not single, so you're not looking. But,
nope, not at all.
You know, if you were... then you could get the Porsche Carrera, and that'll fix any problem. You don't even need to care about how you dress now.
You're going to become a car YouTuber? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
If I ever became a car YouTuber, I think it'd be like classic cars, not a Porsche Carrera.
Do those do numbers on YouTube?
I don't think so.
Probably not, right?
I feel like tuner cars maybe.
If you're going to become a car YouTuber, you have to go in very specific car directions, because you have to go towards
Mazda
what
Miatas.
Miatas are huge. Fucking, I don't know. Adam LZ. I interviewed TJ Hunt, also, who's a YouTuber who does car stuff. But I personally just don't really know anything about the whole car thing.
If I was ever do car, like I don't think I'd ever do car YouTube, but I do want like a 56 Bel Air. That's like I'd rather have a 54, but the price difference for those 2 years is quite drastic.
I think I'm just never going to get into the whole car thing.
Really?
I think I'm just going to leave that one alone.
Not even a classic?
I don't know one thing about cars. I feel like I'd be faking it so bad if I acted like I gave a shit about this. Same thing with the clothes thing. Like, I feel like if I started just rocking Supreme, it's like when I did it with those photos of you, it's funny because it just feel like that's so not me that it's just sort of like entertaining.
It is you. I feel like to some degree, it may not be like you, but you are interested in clothes.
I'm interested in it for sure. I just don't I don't really feel the need to be like a direct participant in it. You know, I don't know. There's something about it that just...
So what do you think is like fascinating about that scene for you? Necessarily like what fuels it, or like...
I'm interested in the culture surrounding it and the brands and how the brands engage with the fans and all that kind of stuff. Like honestly, for the same reason I'm interested in skateboarding, for the same reason I'm interested in kendama, for the same reason I'm interested in metal. It's like I'm not really... Like, I don't listen to metal. I don't, like, go skateboard. But I'm, like, I'm interested in subcultures, to be totally honest.
Do you think that a lot of the fashion, like a lot of streetwear, is kind of like a subculture of skateboarding for the most part?
A lot, yeah. And that's the weird thing is that I grew up as a BMX kid, but really like no BMX brand has almost ever had any sort of influence or involvement in like the overall larger fashion scene. You saw like a little peek of it with Animal at that time. And then like I feel like with me, like a big part of the reason why I started in Jumper in the first place is because I wanted to be able to sort of make BMX bigger, like make my brands in BMX bigger. But I realized that like, oh, if I just keep making videos of my friends riding BMX, then I'm just continuing to market to the same people that are already looking at my shit. And it's like, if I want to make On Some Shit an actual, like real credible possible brand, and I definitely don't feel like we're there yet, but if I wanted to like get us to keep reaching a bigger audience, that I was going to have to be able to sort of go outside of BMX. And that's when I like realized like, oh, like the rap thing, like if I can kind of like involve my like, and rap is just what I've always been into like crazy. Besides BMX, it's always been like my main interest, you know?
Yeah. Like the Puya Fat Nick interview.
That was very early on. That was a huge honor though, because that
was super early.
I had the Xavier Wolf interview. That was my first one. But then I wasn't even really thinking about interviewing more rappers. And then Puya was like, yo, I want you to be my first interview. And I was like, oh, shit, it's going to be an actual thing for me.
What's funny is I was listening to Xavier. Like, he was probably one of the first, like, obviously right after Bones came Xavier. It might have been, I think, actually it might have been Bones, Chris Travis, Xavier. And then I listened to Puya. And then that's when I came across No Jumper was the Puya Fat Nick interview.
Oh, nice.
And,
man, that one's crazy. They're talking about how they had a girl in the hotel room and one of them was eating the girl's pussy while the other one was eating the girl's ass. I'm like, what? I'm
crazy.
Sitting there doing that interview like, I cannot fucking believe you guys are telling me about this. This is insane.
I feel like Fat Nick is just, I feel like he's just such a like a crazy
He had
individual.
absolutely no filter then. And
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
when Puya was still lit too, because, you know, he had his girlfriend that he's been dating ever since then. He had just met her. That was when he just met her. So he was still saying crazy shit. But he was saying like
he still has more of a filter than Fat Nick though in that interview. Fat Nick is just like no care in the world. Puya has like some kind of like filter a little bit.
Fat Nick is just all extra.
Yeah,
it's in his bloodstream to be extra.
I was pretty stoked when you did the Rob Banks interview.
That was tight.
I feel like some people hate on Rob Banks nowadays, but
there's a whole story about that. I don't know if you know about it or not.
But why people hate Rob Banks?
No, about beef that erupted during that interview. But I mean,
I don't know about that.
I'll tell you later.
We'll have to talk about that afterwards because I was reading the comments and I'm like, why does everyone hate? Like Rob Banks is kind of one of the pioneers.
Oh yeah,
well.
Rob Banks is great. And Rob Banks, I was in Miami about a year ago, and I was at this house party, and Rob Banks, like he has friends that basically like, oh god, I'm all of a sudden getting into too many details, but basically like people showed up at his interview trying to press him. Nothing happened, but people showed up and it was weird. And then one of Rob's friends thought that I had set him up. And so I was texting Rob like, yo, I did not set you up. This does not involve me at all, blah, blah, blah. And Rob was kind of like making it sound like, oh, my boy is probably not going to accept your apology. So then I'm in Miami. I'm at this house party, zanned out of my mind with fucking Lil Pump. This is when I first met him. And then and just all of a sudden Rob's there with all his boys and stuff. And they were cool. So I was like, thank God.
Yeah, that's
they
good.
really could have fucked me up at that party. I didn't have nobody with me. It would have been me and Lil Pump fighting for our lives.
And of course you were zanned out with Lil Pump.
Yeah, that was when I first met him, and he actually gave it to me. It's just weird when I see people say like, "Oh, Adam 22 is like got Lil Pump hooked on Xans." I'm like, bro, every time I ever did a Xan around Lil Pump, it was because he gave it to me, which I know probably doesn't make anybody feel too much better about it. But
I mean,
out here.
Yeah, it's better than the other way around. Better than you giving it to him.
I would never do that. I would never have Xans. I just don't like have them on me because I won't buy them because I don't want to have them in my presence. Because you know, I'll buy like one. Like if somebody tries to sell me one right now, I'll probably buy it. Let's be honest. But
if anyone wants to sell one, just you know.
If somebody was like, "Oh, here's 10," I'd be like, "Nah, bro, I can't have 10 of them things around me. That's like, you know, it's too much temptation."
It's too much, yeah.
Yeah. You don't do that though. You don't fuck around drugs or alcohol at all.
No. So I used to back in the day, but I've seen my whole family lose their life to drugs. You know, my Uncle Pepe's incarcerated for life without parole.
Jeez.
My Uncle Jesse got 12 years. I mean, he'll get out in 7 or 8 because of good behavior. My Uncle Dondi died. I mean,
wow.
You know, so it's like I've dabbled with it. You know, my dad's an alcoholic. He was never in my life. My mom, like, she's always been kind of like functioning. She doesn't do anything now. But it's like I've messed around with it. And it's just whenever I never got anything done. Like I don't get any work done. And it's just a very temporary feeling for me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I just like, you know, like before we started the interview, like I took that thing of coding, but I didn't do it to get high. I even texted my mom because people that follow me, they'll know like I was in the ER like 5 days ago.
Right.
Because I was just having like I had a crazy flu and I was coughing.
So now you're on lean full time.
Full time. Just
Nice.
before I have to talk, so I'm not like coughing too much.
Right.
But I text my mom. I was like, this is so weird. Like this is the first time I've ever taken codeine to like actually not cough instead of like using it to get high. You know.
You're a walk star now.
Huh?
You're a walk star.
A walk star.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, so like I don't know. I don't do anything. I try not to promote anything. Like I used to like I'd go to the top of a mountain and I'd crack open like a tall boy, like a Mickey's or whatever. But for the most part, like now I don't do anything. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I would smoke if I could handle it. I feel like I just, you know,
Your
I have
throat's
nothing.
not good, or you get paranoid?
I feel like I have like a baby throat.
I feel like that sometimes too.
I feel like it just makes my shit so itchy.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I tried edibles once. It was the craziest experience of all time.
What, you eat like a whole brownie or something?
I had a cookie.
Yeah.
And I posted on a second channel on YouTube.
The experience?
Yeah, it was insane. I went to go watch Finding Dory, and I literally turned into Dory. Like,
Yeah.
I literally had short.
If you don't smoke weed like that, I would not recommend a whole weed cookie. I would recommend like a quarter of one, and even then, you might still want to be going to bed early.
Yeah, it was.
Were you sick?
No, I was just way too high. Paul
Yeah.
Cantu actually is the one that provided me with the thing. I mean, it's in Washington, so it's completely legal.
Wow.
You know, but yeah, he provided me with my little cookie,
And it wasn't worth it.
it was an experience.
Yeah.
For sure. It was a trip. He recorded it, and it's like,
Edibles are like fucking going to war with your mind sometimes.
oh, I was so like, I told him, I was like, bro, like don't leave until like I'm in the bed and all the lights are off, because I feel like if you leave and I'm still walking around, I might just wander down the street.
Really?
Like I was so out of it.
See, every time I've ever got way too fucked up off edibles, it's not like I'm gonna go do something. It's like I'm gonna lay in bed like for like 20 hours and just like one time I got this huge backpack full of weed, and I went over to Eddie Baker's house, and we were just all taking bong hits and then like eating all the edibles and stuff, and we just got super fucked up together. And then I drove home, and the second that I parked my car, it just occurred to me like, it is so irresponsible that you just drove home. You are fucked. And I like barely made it up to my bed, and my girl was already coming over. She gets there, and I am just straight up like I don't even remember, but I'm sleeping, just breathing super deep. And I was there for like 16 hours. And this is like me as an adult. Like I'm used to smoking a lot of weed, and like
Yeah.
the edibles just took me to a whole nother planet, man.
Yeah, edibles are insane. I probably don't see myself doing edibles again.
Edibles ruin families.
I don't really see myself doing many drugs at this point.
That's good.
If any at all.
What do you see as like the future of your channel, or where you're planning on taking your life from here, besides just continuing to expand upon the things that you have going?
I would like to not post on YouTube as much.
Ever?
Sounds kind of weird.
No.
Yeah, ever. I'd like to post like Vimeo creative videos maybe.
What? Vimeo?
I love Vimeo.
Why?
Vimeo is where all the creative stuff is. The best videos, like if you go look like Adrift, it's like there's like crazy time lapses.
Yeah,
of,
but
like,
you got 300,000 subscribers, and they're gonna be pissed off if you're making them go on over to Vimeo.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like Vimeo is like a platform where more people are like more about being creative. But I mean, I don't know if I'll ever give up YouTube. Like, I feel like a lot of people will just give up YouTube and they won't communicate. Like, they'll just be like, they'll kind of get their break.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, well, fuck you guys. Like, you guys all watch, you know, you guys all like show love, but like, fuck that, you know? So I don't think I'll ever like leave YouTube per se. I'm still going to make YouTube videos. I got a ton of like stuff that I'm filming out here that I want to do. I'm hoping to do something with FTP while I'm out here.
Oh, that'd be tough.
And like Born and Raised, and just more like stuff that's kind of like actually about the culture instead of just unboxings. And I still plan on doing tons of unboxing. I got a ton of stuff I want to do, but I would like my focus to be around my Instagram and just like just keep encouraging people through Instagram to go listen. It's just so much more direct. I can be on live, and I can, you know, just start listening to music on live and put people on new music. Or
But
like,
do you feel like,
you know,
getting, say, like a visual project for FTP where they're like, okay, we're going to pay you to make like a really cool video promoting our new line or something. Do you feel like that's the kind of thing that would be harder for you to get right now because you have a certain kind of image from doing the YouTube content?
I don't know. I mean,
But that's also why people know you.
It's very possible. Like, it's very, like, if I ever got that from FTP, I would kill it. Like, yo.
But that kind of thing
Zach,
for
if you're
brands
watching
is
this,
like
I
the
will
kind of thing that would be dope to
make
have.
you the coolest video ever.
Yeah, but do you think that like sometimes being a YouTuber sort of makes people not think of you as like being able to make cool content like that?
Yeah, I definitely think
It's
so.
hard to balance what people's expectations are for you. It's
No,
hard to be a lot of things at once.
I think 100%. Like if you only watch one video, you won't really know that I'm into like videography. You'll know that my camera quality is really good because I spent dumb amounts of money on my camera and my lens, but you won't know that like I'm actually into cinematography or like I'm into photography and I can actually do more than just like unbox clothes. So I do feel like that if I was to ever make something for like FTP, it wouldn't necessarily be about like me at all. You know, if I was to make something for a brand, I want to be focused around the brand.
But do you like being on camera or being behind the camera more? Do you find a balance between those?
I much more prefer to be behind the camera.
Really?
Definitely.
Okay.
It's harder for me. Like I'm getting to the point now where I have so many clothes. I give my friends a lot of clothes. So like I have like garbage bags full of clothes that I just give to like my friends who aren't as fortunate as me.
That's tight.
And like it's to the point now where I'll do like lookbooks and companies will send me clothes and I'll give them like half of what they send me. And then I'll do, like I did a lookbook for Gotti Wear, which is a dope brand that like supports me. They support me for a while. And I gave my friends some clothes and I like shot them wearing the clothes and did a lookbook like of me shooting them instead of like me having to set the camera up and like walk in front of the camera. It was just so much better. The video turned out way cooler.
That's tight.
It ended up getting claimed because Wi-Fi's funeral and Danny Towers' song Numb got claimed, so that's kind of a bummer, but
that'll happen. He's signed now.
Yeah.
Once they sign, it's over for using their music.
Yeah, I know. So.
That used to be my biggest fucking concern in life when I had the BMX channel, because we'd always want to use like a full 3-minute song from an artist, and we would put it up and it wouldn't get claimed, and then a month and a half later they finally get the song in the system, and then the revenue would be
yeah, you get
now
everything.
There's just no revenue anyway.
But I mean,
so.
at least you get like the main
the beginning phase,
yeah, where
would be nice.
The biggest revenue stream is.
Actually, that's what's funny is that a lot of people don't realize that is a big part of what led me down the road of being interested in underground rap anyway. It's because it's like, okay, I'm listening to Gucci Mane all the time, but I can't use Gucci in music videos at all. So I started to just, it just sort of led me down that path because I was trying to find music for videos at first, and that got me more into the underground than I had ever been, and that was kind of like the beginning of No Jumper. It's weird to think of.
You were big into Gucci though?
Gucci was like 2009 to like 2014. Like,
what do you think your favorite Gucci song is?
My favorite Gucci song is Photo Shoot.
My favorite Swing My Door.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
You ain't lying.
I need 18.5.
Well, the Gucci Mane autobiography is fantastic. I have it, even though it's not going to be out for like another month, and it's great. It really like ties all the projects together. It lets you kind of know what the narrative is between all the different mixtapes and albums and stuff. And it's basically just him getting arrested, getting hooked on drugs, getting arrested, going to jail for a while, getting out, staying clean for a while, getting fucked up on drugs again, going back to jail. This happens like 10 times throughout the book, like over and over, to the point where you're like, man, like this is like a book that you couldn't really make up, because it's like he just fucks up so many times. And then the fact that he actually but it really gives you the appreciation for where he is now.
Oh yeah,
because it's unbelievable that he actually made it through all that shit and is actually like thriving now.
I feel like no one ever expected Gucci to come out and be who he is today.
Not when he had that fucking 400-pound jug of fucking watermelon juice sticking out of his fucking man. Like, he had probably the craziest lean gut in the history of hip hop.
Yeah,
because he just has never really looked like a fat guy, but his gut just became like he's like 8 months pregnant.
Yeah, it was bad.
I loved it though; it was great. His music was awesome then, and it gives you a different perspective because his vocals are so clear now. But on his old stuff, it's like sometimes like I really feel like I can tell what drugs he was on, because I can 100% tell you what songs he's on Molly on, and I could tell you which ones he's like completely just leaned out of his mind.
Yeah,
I've been in this game. I know.
Yeah, Gucci's freaking great, man. He's definitely one of the legends. I feel like I would kind of wonder if some of his mixtape stuff would get claimed. That's why I'm kind of curious.
Oh, hell yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
There's some A$AP Rocky mixtape stuff that doesn't get claimed.
Really?
Like I use like a Lana Del Rey A$AP Rocky mix.
Really?
Yeah, it's without Trilla, but it's like a mix, like it's where they mix their vocals on without Trilla, right, or whatever, from the first, the A$AP Rocky, not the first one, I guess it's technically like his third mixtape, but the first one that made any kind of wave with like Peso and all that.
It's
and
crazy.
Like there's a song I found on SoundCloud that I use, and that doesn't get
sometimes you can use the instrumentals on really big songs and they don't get claimed, and then sometimes the instrumental gets claimed just like it's the real song.
Yeah, I've seen people use like huge instrumentals, like Kendrick Lamar instrumentals, and like not, and it'll be in the background of their video, and I'm like so confused how they don't get claimed.
I'm pretty sure that at one point FouseyTube had a deal with J. Cole where he could use his music in his videos for free, because one time during my brief period where I was really interested in FouseyTube and I was trying to figure out what his fucking deal was, I was like watching a video and he had like 8 minutes of like the new J. Cole album in it, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, there's no way that you're getting 2 million views and that you're giving away all that money. I guarantee you reached out to the label and got it cleared. But brilliant on J. Cole's part and FouseyTube's part, really, because that's just great marketing.
And I feel like it fits pretty well, like the FouseyTube.
Yeah, a couple of
group
bozos.
mixed
They
with
belong together. Just kidding. I'm cool with J. Cole. And J. Cole fucks with No Jumper, or at least knows about No Jumper.
J. Cole's a pretty cool individual. If you watch his interviews, like after like he became like a minimalist and started just riding his bike around, and I guess being more about like not about material possessions and stuff. I've always liked J. Cole, but I do feel like it's kind of like this trend to like
he's on a journey, a mental
hate
journey.
on him, you know?
No, I don't think J. Cole's bad. It's just, you got to take sides in a fight, and I got to take Lil Pump's side. Fuck it, it is what it is.
Facts, you have to.
J. Cole sprayed up Lil Pump's mom's house. So ever since then, I've just been like, man, this beef is on. Yeah. No, obviously not.
Yeah,
No.
definitely not. Yeah, exactly. J. Cole, like the most peaceful rapper.
J. Cole
of
sent shooters at Lil Pump's house.
the last decade.
Start that rumor. Everybody tweet that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know what you did, J.
We know what you did to Lil Pump's mom.
How dare you?
Lil Pump's mom lives in fear because you sent the shooters at his home.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
choose
ever
to believe
fathom
this.
that.
No, that happened.
How do you feel about FouseyTube's new content though?
I don't know. I don't watch him anymore.
I like the homeless content thing.
Well, I like the idea of him being homeless. I don't know about like him
Damn,
doing it for a YouTube
shots
video.
fired. I like the content, man.
I
I
really
was
fuck
never a
with him.
fan of his I wasn't a big fan of his his kind of some of his like prank stuff.
Social experiments that made the world look more racist than it really was. There's really a lot of low lights in the history of FouseyTube, man.
But I will say I like the content he produced. I don't know if he produced or he edited it, but that he produced with like that whole like going homeless thing, just from like a cinematic standpoint of how he would like piece the videos together. I don't know him as a person, or like I've never dived in deep to watch his videos like that much, but yeah, I like that those videos, the way they're produced, are really, really, really good.
I bet he wakes up in the morning and just sucks his own dick. Anyway, you got anybody you want to thank or anything before we wrap this up? We're already a solid hour and 32 minutes in. And no disrespect to anybody who sucks their own dick, because that's a way of life that I respect as well. Yeah.
I mean, not really. I guess just shout out to my niece and my nephew, the two people in my family that I have big hopes for. I love those little kids like they're my own.
Shout out to all the nephews. Yeah, I got 2 nephews too, 3.5 and like 1, and I just want to say that they're great.
I would like to say thank you to you for like having me on here. It's kind of crazy being a fan of No Jumper for so long, and then like having an interview is like pretty surreal.
Hey,
it's a pretty crazy experience.
My pleasure, man.
So
I got to look out for the YouTubers out there,
Thank you. A
moment of silence.
This shit's been fire. It was so lit.
This was lit. It was that. Those are my 2 things that every vlogger must say in 2017.
Yeah,
it's lit.
Fire must be the.
It's lit,
word.
And we out here. Oh, and fire.
Here,
that's fire.
Fire for clothing.
That's an interview thing to say. That's fire.
That's fire.
Like somebody pointed it out one time. The house phone was on an interview, and he said, "That's fire," like 800 times in response to the guest. That's fire. That's fire. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been very enjoyable having you on here. I hope a lot of the people out there learned a lot. I know I certainly did. I definitely wasn't 100% sure about your military background. That was fascinating, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for keeping the culture out there abreast on all the newest Box logo news and such. Yeah. So check out his Instagram. Social media is on the screen. This has been No Jumper, the coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Peace
the fuck out.
There you go.
Falling like an athlete, but got no